Hey gang, I was recently a guest on the Songwriter Show with Sarantos, and I thought you might like to hear it. Before I get to that, I did want to just say that I've just had a new song come out. The Rebirth is slick. It's a Diggable Planets cover, one of my favorite bands. So if you haven't got a chance to listen to that, go to my YouTube channel and watch the video and let me know what you think. So alright, without further ado, here is the Songwriter Show.
Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sorantos.
Thank you for tuning in, and welcome back to the Songwriter Show. I'm your host, Sarantos. I'm a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are so important to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show for you every Tuesday evening. I strongly believe that every song is a story. The Songwriter Show is broadcast live on #1 ranked Pesmu Radio and has listeners in all 206 countries in the world and every state in the U.S. The station is licensed with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and Sound Exchange, and has partnerships throughout the music industry, including iHeartRadio and exposure to over 300 million listeners. Tonight's first guest is Zen Large. Zen is a jazz hip-hop artist out of Cary, North Carolina, USA. He's the only rapper in the world who plays the Linstrument. The Linstrument is an expressive MIDI controller created by legendary electronic music designer Roger Linn. Zen uses the Linnstrument to take solos and rap songs, giving him a unique sound.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Zen. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. So, first thing I got to ask you is what's new since the last time we talked? It seems like it's been quite a bit. Anything new with you?
Oh my God, that's a really long question. Yeah, a lot has changed. So I wasn't doing hip hop back then, and now I'm doing hip hop and have a new, my rap name, my new Zen Large persona. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying it. I'm new to the genre, at least as a performer. I've been listening to hip hop since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
So tell us a little bit about what made you branch out to this genre, and then you got to tell me about the name. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start with the name. So first of all, like what I was telling you about when I was on the last time, is I'm really passionate about personal development. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, what area really exemplifies my take on personal development and growth, right? And it came down to like living a Zen life, which to me, that means the ability to be calm, cool, and collected while walking through a firestorm, while life is throwing curveballs at you. And it's not that you don't acknowledge your feelings or feel your feelings. I mean, to me, living the Zen life is all about feeling your feelings deeply, but you don't let that dictate the actions that you take, right? You do that on your own terms, and then you choose what actions you want to have rather than letting your emotions just drive you. So that's what living the Zen life is all about. So I was like, okay, well, rappers don't just go by their real names, right? It's like Eminem and Snoop Dogg and Tupac, right? Yeah. You can't just go by your real name, right? So I'm like, all right, I can't just go by my real name. So I was like, I came up with Zen Large because I was like, well, my Zen is large, and plus I like to help out other people to enlarge their Zen. So it kind of works in both ways, right? And for me, so I was looking at what's genre of music do I want to go into? Because I love like all kinds of music. I mean, literally, I don't know that there's a genre I don't love. But you can't do that. If you're playing all kinds of genres, nobody's going to actually like you, because the people that like metal are going to be like, well, I don't like this hip hop you're playing. The people who like hip hop are going to be like, well, I don't like this pop stuff you're doing. The people like pop are going to be like, I don't know what you're doing over here with classical, So you kind of have to pick something, right? Or else you're not going to appeal to anyone. And, I've loved hip hop since I was a little kid, and I found I started doing like just karaoke hip hop a couple years ago, and I just had so much fun doing it that I was like, you know what? I think this is it. I think this is the one I can do. I'm having a blast doing it. I also don't have the greatest singing voice in the world either, so that kind of helped me as well.
So you're rapping.
Right. I'm like, yeah, hey, I can actually rap and not be completely terrible. So maybe this is the direction I should go. So yeah, that's how I got there.
So I think, you mentioned Eminem, which means that you got to have two names. So he's Slim Shady and Eminem. So you're what, Zen and Zen Large? I mean, you gotta have two personas, I think.
Yeah. So, I don't know, the 38th chamber. I don't know.
Yeah. The next time I have you on, you'll have a second name, all right?
Right.
Yeah. So tell me, is your songwriting process changed now that you're in this new genre?
Yeah, I would say so. It's, hip hop is very beat driven. So I'm looking for like, what's a good beat, when I'm writing the actual music. Right. And then the lyrics, one thing I found is that you tend to have to write a lot more lyrics for when you're writing hip hop than if you're singing. Because with singing, you can hold a word out for for ages, right? And singing ends up being much slower than just speaking naturally, generally speaking. So you'll say a lot less words in a minute of singing than you would in a minute of speaking. But hip hop's the opposite. Is you actually end up saying more words typically in a minute than you would in a minute of speaking. So it's just finding that, it's a little more work actually on the writing lyrics side. And it's really important for it to be rhythmic more so, where you really, the melody is super important when you're singing. With hip hop, it's more having a good rhythm, because if I found you can't just make lyrics that rhyme and do it over top of a beat and have a good product. It's actually, it's got to have a nice rhythm to it in the vocals itself. And, there's a million different rhythms you can go with. You start going through the catalogs of your local hip hop record store. Not that anybody buys records anymore, but you know what I'm saying? Like you'll see there's all kinds of different ways to deliver it, but that's part of the fun, is picking, okay, well, what rhythm am I going to use in this song, in this verse, in this particular line right here, because it can change line by line to an extent.
Absolutely. So we got a caller that was going to ask exactly what I was just going to ask you. Katie wants to know, what is the Linnstrument? So I was going to ask you to kind of remind the fans about it. She stole my thunder, but tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So, it's really hard to explain it in words, especially if you're not familiar with some of the geeky technical terms in the music industry and electronic music. It's an electronic musical instrument. And the most common electronic musical instrument is, of course, the keyboard. There's millions and millions of keyboards in the world, right? And it's got some similarities to the keyboard, but the thing that it brings to playing for electronic music is it's very expressive. You can do things like you would on a guitar that's very expressive that you would struggle to do on a keyboard or on a violin or a saxophone. Like this, this next song, the song we're going to play coming up, I have the Linstrument to play a saxophone. I do some saxophone leads, and then I do some electric guitar leads. And you would really struggle to get that same kind of expression with a traditional keyboard, right? So it's I could go into more technical detail, but it would probably bore half the audience. I'd recommend just you do a search for Linnstrument and just watch some of these on YouTube. There's not a whole lot of people playing it. I think there's only 2,000 or 3,000 sold in the world, and I know for a fact that some musicians have more than one of them. So there's very few people in the world actually playing this thing, but it's amazing. I love it.
Has your new genre changed how you integrate the Linnstrument?
Wow, great question. So I'm finding that it on the solo side, probably not. I still just kind of listen to my muse and follow where my muse takes me when I'm doing the solo. But when a lot of times I will actually write all the backing tracks in the music, right? So you can always just get a backing track off of YouTube, or collaborate with another musician and have them write like a backing track for you, and you perform over top of it. So I could do that, and I've done that before. I've collaborated with other musicians where I do some rap over top of the music, maybe put a Linstrument solo down, and they handle everything else: the bass, the drums, the whatnot, the keyboards.
Sure.
But the song Two Worlds that you're going to play coming up, I do everything on it other than the drums. And so for hip hop, the genre of hip hop, there's many subgenres. I'm in the jazz hop subgenre, where we're doing, it's basically rap over top of jazz music, or mine is even maybe a little more specific in that it's funk music, funk being a subgenre of jazz. So when I'm making the backing tracks for this music, I'm having to really channel my inner Bootsy Collins, right? My inner George Clinton to kind of get into some of the funk beats that I like to rap over top of, where previously I'd done when I was on your show last time, I did a jazz song as well, but I've done some rock. I've done, like I said, I have a lot of different genres I like. So it's the solos is probably not that different, honestly. It's just just letting my soul sing through the instrument, just channeling my muse. But the rhythms and the melodies in the song, those are more in the funk style than I was doing previously.
How has your collaborating changed in this new genre? You still collaborate with people? Is it different?
Sure. So what I found, the great thing about making music is you start to notice things as a fan of music that you wouldn't otherwise notice. So I've been listening to hip hop for closing in on 40 years now. And, I grew up listening to like LL Cool J and the Fresh Prince and Fat Boys and these guys in the 80s, right? And then I started getting to high school. I was getting into gangster rap and NWA and Eazy-E and Snoop Dogg and stuff like that. But, I listened to this for years. And then I started making rap music and I started hearing all these things that I never heard before. And it gave me a whole new appreciation for the music, that it was actually, I always thought of like, rap music I really enjoyed it, but I was just like, it's pretty simple music. But I was like, there's a lot of complexity here that I wasn't giving it credit for, just because I wasn't listening with a musician's ear. So as I was listening, like one of the things is I find that the rap that I enjoy, they put a lot of variety into the vocals. It's not just delivering lyrics in a rhythmic fashion and to a cadence, right? They have a lot of techniques they use to make it so that it doesn't get boring, because you're not really, when you're rapping, most of the time you're not actually doing a melody like you would when you're singing, right? It's more like speaking with rhythm.
Yeah.
So to keep it from getting boring, they have all these techniques they use. And in one way, what I found is the songs I tended to like were ones that had multiple vocal performers on them, multiple rappers, and even multiple singers. A lot of times they will mix in singing, especially you'll hear that in the chorus. The verses might be rapped, but the chorus will be sung. So I was like, okay, I need to start collaborating, because it's going to be adding spice to my music. It's like, if you make a stew and all you put in is salt, it might be okay, but it's going to be a lot better if you have some pepper and you put a little garlic powder in there and some onion powder or whatever, you know what I mean? So I was like, hey, this is an opportunity to collaborate, which is fun, meeting new, interesting artists, and make my music more interesting and just put out a better product, right? So I've started collaborating with new people. Now it's like every song I put out, at least my original songs, on covers I don't worry about it so much, but if I'm putting out an original song, I'm like, okay, I want to get some other people to work with me on this to add that spice in, right? I want it to be as spicy as it can be, as flavorful as it can be.
Yeah, I think especially in today's day and age, people get bored very quickly. So multiple different vocalists, things always changing is kind of almost a must if you want to have a top hit. Yeah. And so you'll see that a lot in the Two Worlds songs that comes up. If you listen closely to the backing track, it's changing constantly. And I've got 4 different vocal performers on there. There's a woman singing, there's another rapper that raps with me, and I have a voice actor that does the intro who's got this amazing raspy voice. So yeah, I definitely took that to heart in this particular song for sure. What's the biggest challenge you have seen in the genre you're in right now, hip hop, rap?
Well, probably just there's so much competition, right? I would like to get popular, you have more people listening to me, not so much because I need to be a big rap star. I mean, I'm a married guy, middle-aged, have a great day job. I don't need to be successful in my music to have a roof over my head and good food on the table, right? I have security, and I'm not interested in chasing a bunch of women or anything like that. I've got children and a wife, but for me, it's all about helping other people. So like I said, I really enjoy helping other people to enlarge their Zen. And I use music as a way to connect. It's like, hey, this is a way to connect with people that might otherwise not be interested in personal development. Because I know for myself, I've seen so much dramatic improvement in my life. And just from going from being, miserable and rock bottom to where I'm, 10 years ago to where now it's a whole different life for me, where I'm just, every day is amazing. And I want other people to have that too. So, but the competition is incredible right now. I mean, if you go on YouTube or, SoundCloud or all these different platforms, iTunes, I mean, now anybody with a microphone pretty much has access to anybody in the world who's got an internet connection, right? So, there's a lot of crap out there. Of course, there's a lot of,
but there's really a lot of good stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of really talented people that actually haven't learned how to make it a good product. There's a lot that goes into, like when you're trying to do this at home, you might be super talented, but if you don't have the right equipment or the right knowledge how to use that equipment, it might come out with a poor product. But then there's so many people that do have that knowledge too, because it's now you can go on YouTube and you can get your degree on YouTube, right, with how to make music. There's any platform you want, any software you want. There's tutorials on there, and they'll teach you how to make good music. And it's just, you just have to put the work in. And like you said, so many people have. So trying to find a way to have my voice stand out in the crowd is tough, just because there's just tremendous competition.
Yeah, and I think you have to always, part of this show is, I think you have to keep honing your craft. I've been doing this is my 7th year, and I do things so differently than I did a few months ago, let alone a year or 7 years ago. And you have to almost have that hunger to keep working hard towards your end goal, which is to make something that people want to hit the rewind button and be like, wow, I just got to hear that again. That's what we're all craving. It really is.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your future plans. What do you anticipate in the next year? What's like your big project that you're trying to finish?
Wow. Well, this would have been really different had you asked me like 2 months ago. So I was getting to the point where I was like, I want to get a couple more songs up on my YouTube channel, on my my Bandcamp, page, whatnot. And then I'm going to really hit it hard playing out. I want to, at this point, I'm like I said, I'm new to rap. So I've only had 2 public performances, and, I've done a number of private performances for friends and family and whatnot, but I've only had 2 public ones. And I'm like, I want to really get out there and just start hitting the clubs and get a lot of experience and gain that confidence and start, I'd like to be playing festivals and things of that nature. Right. But I'm like, I really need to work on performing live, just because I haven't done it a lot, at least in this genre. Yeah. And of course, COVID put a stop to all of that. I haven't got to get out and do any of that. Yeah. So I'm hoping that that's going to open up soon, and we'll be able to return to some form of normalcy, and people will still be interested in going out and seeing live music, and I can get out, because one of the great things about performing music is just connecting with other people, right? And for me, I was never one to just make my music alone in a dark room. I always wanted to share my music with the world. And so I'm hoping to get out there and not just share it on YouTube, but actually get out there in the clubs and share it. So, but I'm not banking on that. I basically want to keep putting out new songs, keep improving my craft as a musician, as a sound engineer, a producer, getting better at the marketing side to help grow it, so that I can connect with as many people as possible, so I can help as many people as possible. And I also, as part of that, on my YouTube channel, I put out roughly a weekly vlog called the Zen Large Show, where I talk about some of the tips and tricks that I have to help you to live that Zen life that I've been talking about. So my goal is basically to put out a Zen Large Show every week, and a new song every month. And, I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't hit that every single time, but just kind of have that goal out there and hope to reach it most of the time. And if I reach it most of the time, then I'll be doing pretty good.
Yeah. Tell us your socials, your website. Where can people buy your music, listen to it, get a hold of you?
Sure. So the sites where I'm most active is YouTube and Facebook. If you just go on there and search for Zen Large, Zen Large, or take the word N large and put a Z in front of it, you'll find me. You can go to my website is zenlarge.co. So if you go to zenlarge.co, there's an option to purchase music there. And there's also links to my Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. But those are the places to find me. If the name is unique enough that if you search for Zen Large, you'll go right to me.
All right. So if I search for Zen Small, you're not going to pop up. It's got to be Zen Large.
That's my mortal enemy. Yeah. I'll take him down in rap battle. All right, anytime he wants.
Yeah. So we got a minute here till we hear your song. Tell us about this song. What inspired it? What do you want us to take from it when we hear it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. In a minute. So I was, I'm on Facebook, and I started corresponding with this other rapper. He goes by the name of Ballz, and he's an 8-year-old kid from Nigeria. Yeah, 8-year-old kid out of Nigeria, and he's like, you sound so great, man. We should do a song together. Can we do a song together? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I said, well, I've got this song, Ballz. It's called Two Worlds. I'll talk about my world, about going a 9-to-5 job and a wife and kid, and you talk about your world where you're playing video games and soccer after school and struggles with your getting in trouble at school and whatnot. And we'll be two worlds. He's like, yeah, that's a great idea. So he, like 2 or 3 days later, he sends me back what he's got, his vocals recorded. And he's like, yeah, I've got it. Let me know what you think. And I'm listening to it, and it's like this kid is like pouring his heart out about his world. Like, if you listen, he's like, he's in the third world, right? And it's like, he's like, no hope, no love. I just pray that I can make it out. And it's really heartbreaking listening to it. But I was so impressed. I'm like, wow, this kid is at 8 years old is writing these lyrics that are just so moving. And I'm like, I've got to step up my game to make sure I'm providing a counter to that. So I tried to go back and forth with him, and it ended up being really a song about gratitude, where appreciating what you have, where Americans don't really appreciate what they have. They don't realize how rich we are compared to people in other countries. And of course, I wrote this before COVID. So when it released, and so many people have lost their jobs, and our people are losing their businesses and whatnot, I felt kind of bad releasing a song complaining about how Americans don't appreciate what they have. But even today, Americans are way better off than the people in the third world that are really struggling during this lockdown right now. They are in a lot of cases, like having to go without food and just the basic necessities of life. Where in America, we're just like, oh, I have to collect my unemployment check, but you're fine. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, you're really fine. So.
All right. Well, Zen Master, Zen Large, Zen Small, Zen. It was great having you on the show. We're going to hear your song right now, and be happy to have you on again anytime, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, Zen, here we go.
In one world, you've got Zen Large, a 40-something-year-old guy living the American dream. A good job, a house in the suburbs, wife, kid, 2 dogs, surrounded by a bunch of spoiled, entitled Americans. Then you've got Ballz, an 8-year-old rapper out of Lagos, Nigeria, a true baller. Well, his world's not exactly like that. 2 worlds, different, but in some ways the same.
My world, wake up grateful every day. Got a job to work, got bills to pay. Kiss my wife and daughter, pat my dog on the head. This happens every morning when I get out of bed. Drink a cup of coffee, check the news on my phone. Say a couple meditations, get myself in the zone. Call my team, make a plan, don't gotta work it alone. Time the afternoon, hits 1,000,000 miles are blown. Later that day, I get a call. My homie's in town, he wants to have a ball. Take him to the local bar, there's good music tonight. DJ spinning fine records that beat so tight. Lots of smiles and laughs while we're catching up. Exchanging story after story as I fill my cup. Get home before it's too late, go to bed. Next day I wake up and I do it again. My world.
It's a little peace and harmony. pressure so I could let it out. I hope I can make it out of this all in one piece. There's just no doubt. Dude, please count up my shine. I realize no life without family. And then I tell my God how blessed I must have been to be a part of them. In good and in bad times, I think about the joy. And I pray it never ends. I wanna take some time with my maker. I pray I hit a big despite tribulations. I pray I make him proud. No regrets for building me. I wish you be a better me. Lord, please take control. People wanna stop you right on the back. I hear they wanna claim they owe you so much love. Just make sure you don't ever get so much attached. I'm pouring on my mind, no disrespect, sort of advice. In my world, no peace. In my world, no joy. In my world, no hope. In my world, no love. In my world, no peace. In my world, no joy. In my world, no hope. In my world, no love.
My world, see sad faces all around. No one looking up, always looking down. Got the nose in their phone through the contact lens. Candy Crush, Farmville, words with friends. Instagram photo didn't get much likes. Soup was cold at Jersey Mike's. Pulled a muscle when they went to Pilates class. Maid left a smudge on the looking glass. Wi-Fi slow, cell phone slow, train is slow, Uber slow, fast food slow, Starbucks is slow, my gardener's slow, my maid is slow, banks are slow, the mall is slow, delivery of my online purchases slow, grocery store and gas station slow, everything in my whole world is slow.
In my world, there's no joy. Every morning I wake up, I realize life is putting on makeups. In my eyes, I see the future, little hope for the masses. I hear they want us to go into classes, but I realize maybe I wasn't really meant for this. Maybe it really wasn't meant to be. And then I reminisce of how many mess I must have seen and how very blessed I must have been. Please, now waiting be this. I just can't explain. I just got to breathe. Jeez, why all that hating and all these killings? I just need to leave. Why can't we get some food and still have a good? I just can't explain. Damn, where is all the love and all of the trust? I still can't believe. In my world, every night before I go to sleep, I always pray that I make it out. In my world, it's so difficult to make it here. You have to learn how to do things yourself. In my world, nobody really cares about you though. Nobody really wanna help, you know. In this world, I know I'm never going down. You see, no one can never bring me down, okay? In my world, no peace. In my world, no joy. In my world, no hope. In my world, no love. In my world, no peace. In my world, no joy. In my world, no hope. In my world, no love.
In this world, we're mostly all the same. Surviving to thriving is the name of the game. Just getting by is not enough. Life is amazing, overflow your cup. How are we all the same, you ask? We all have the same needs behind our masks. We all need peace, joy, hope, and love. My little homie working with me like a hand in glove. Respect, acceptance, consideration, support, attention, appreciation, community, equality, communication, belonging, sharing, cooperation, self-knowledge, self-care, self-realization, honesty, integrity, integration, presence, purpose, inspiration, justice, freedom, liberation. Hopefully we all gain a little perspective. Instagram likes are the main objective. Look at what you got, be a little reflective. Not appreciating is ineffective. Take the time to give the puppies a pet. Hug the ones you love every chance you get. Work for what you want, give a little sweat. And above all else, keep a Zen mindset. My world. My world. My world. My world.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Get to know me a little better and know a little more about Two Worlds, one of my recent original songs. How about Sarantos? Give him some love. Go ahead and subscribe to him, iTunes, all those places. You can find him anywhere. And check out some of his music. He's got some pretty cool tunes as well. So, all right, if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a subscribe. If you're listening to this on iTunes, give me a 5-star rating. Likes, shares, all that stuff is really appreciated. All right, love y'all. Thanks.